there. Good? Okay. Vehicle rollovers are the most deadly type of car accident. On average, a car accident happens every 14 seconds. Although driving for most of us is a part of our everyday lives, we don't readily think about the danger that we put ourselves into every time we pull onto the road. We cannot always prevent accidents, but we can use the proper safety restraints the correct way to give us as much protection as possible. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to discuss why we should practice and use proper safety vehicle restraints, which include seatbelt wearing for adults, child restraints, and safety seats, and the consequences if you don't. So let's get started. In 1959, Swedish engineer Niels Bohlin invented the three-point system that is found in almost all vehicles today. Any vehicle manufactured after 1966 is required to have them installed. But why? Why did these manufacturers decide that a restraint system should be present in every vehicle that is made? Because seatbelts save lives, that's why. According to the Highway Safety Patrol, since its invention, it has saved over 1 million lives in the U.S. alone. The number one reason why wearing a seatbelt is so important is because it keeps a person from being ejected from the vehicle. The World Journal of Surgery states that unbelted occupants are more likely to be expelled from the vehicle during a collision, with a 70% increase in mortality compared with belted patients. Firsthand, I understand this because I lost a friend in high school who was in a car accident. She was not wearing her seatbelt. Driving too fast mixed with striking a light pole along with her being unrestrained ended in her being thrown through the windshield, and she passed away. Your chances of surviving a car crash, especially a rollover crash, increase significantly if you are wearing your seatbelt correctly. The World Journal of Surgery also notes that uses of seatbelts reduce the likelihood of severe injuries and death of vehicle occupants from 40 to 60%. Also, wearing your seatbelt ensures that if you are in a car crash, you can be properly protected by the airbags. Your seatbelt keeps you in the position in the seat so that your face, chest, and sides are cushioned by the airbags. If you do not have it on, your body is flying all over the place and the airbag can injure you. Once the brakes are activated, your seatbelt will lock, keeping you from moving forward and allowing the airbag in front of you to keep your face from hitting the windshield or the dashboard. This decreases the chances of you sustaining a head injury. The World Journal of Surgery notes that the use of seatbelt reduces the likelihood of severe injuries and death of a vehicle's occupants by 40 to 60%. The correct way to wear your seatbelt is with the shoulder part of your seatbelt snug across your chest and shoulder not under your arm or across your neck or face. The lap part should be sitting low and tight across the upper part of your hips. This is the only way to wear it. Any modification to this can change the amount of protection that is provided by the seatbelt. I've heard this argument from people several times. Well, what if I wreck into a body of water or my car bursts into flames? Then I can't get out. The answer to this is simple. The likelihood of either of those happening is 0.5%. Take your chances and wear your seatbelt. Adults and teenagers make their own decision as to wear the seatbelt or not. But how many of you have had the responsibility of buckling in an infant or a toddler? I'm curious to know if it was as stressful for you all as it was for me. First, the initial picking out of a car seat, then getting it installed correctly, and then reinstalling it because the first way looked weird. Most parents have been there. I'm sure those of you with children at least slightly remember what it was like on that first ride home. We were terrified. The idea of being on the road with something so delicate was intimidating. Eventually, we got the hang of it, and my husband had that car seat locked down tighter than Fort Knox, but you get where I'm going with this. Our children depend on us to make sure that they are safe in this car seat as possible. I'd like for those of you who grew up more than 20 years ago to see what it was like for you in a vehicle as a child. Did you sit in a booster seat, a car seat? Did you ever wear a seatbelt? Most of the answers are no. So why now? Why the big push for children's safety seats in a car? Because statistics show that the death rate among small children is drastically reduced when they are properly buckled into a seatbelt. According to the Kentucky State Police website, the regulations are as follows. Any children under 40 inches tall must be in a child or infant seat. Any child who is younger than 8 and between 40 and 57 inches tall should be secured in a booster seat, and all children over 8 years of age or over 57 inches must be in a seatbelt. According to Rebecca Hersher, a study author for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a new study found that 20% of children who were in a fatal car accident were not buckled in properly and were not wearing seatbelts at all. This is a statistic that we are responsible for as adults. It is our job to make sure that we follow the guidelines for restraints to keep our children buckled up safely. I've heard many arguments, including those noted by Joe Blundo, a writer for the Columbus Dispatch. Some drivers are uncomfortable with not being able to see their child in the back seat and are reluctant to face the baby away from them in the back seat. But rear-facing car seats are the gold standard of safety. Children need to be rear-facing until the age of 1. After age of 1, they need to be at least 20 pounds to turn forward-facing, according to drivinglaws.org for the state of Kentucky. Also, according to an article in Newswire about state police inspections of improper installation of safety seats, common problems include failing to anchor the child to the seat in the vehicle seat properly, failing to use the child's seat's harness to hold the child in the seat, and facing the child in the wrong direction. You should follow all installation guidelines to make sure that your particular car seat is installed correctly. So if I haven't given you enough reasons yet to wear proper restraints in the vehicle, the last one should convince you to buckle up. The last and very important reason to wear your safety restraint correctly is because it is the law. The Click It or Ticket law went into effect in Kentucky on July 12, 2006, which mandated that every person must wear the seatbelt or face a fine. This fine also includes children who are not properly restrained, starting at $25. The fine is such a minor issue when we consider what can happen. Every day in the United States, 5 children die in car crashes. Using a safety belt, which is required by law in all 50 states, reduces the risk of death by up to 70%. After all the information I presented you today, I hope that I have convinced you of the importance of proper restraints in a vehicle. We must take a proactive approach in our safety. I've been over why proper restraints are important for adults and children and the consequences of what happens when you don't. So take the time. Take a few extra seconds to protect what's important. I click it, and you should too. Thank you.